Unfortunately, I didn't film it earlier, but there was an example with one of these stupid thatched little buildings of a pile of mud, which would have been, I guess, put together with kind of a wattle and daub scenario like you had in medieval Europe, as opposed to the kind of mud blocks that these were originally, have obviously turned to a kind of solidified mass called stone. But the reason you have all of these here, because of course they could have chipped these away quite easily if it was stone, given the effort that they've put into everything else, assuming of course it was the stone that most people believe it to be, when in fact it was mud. All of this would have consisted of this periphery here, mud buildings, and of course with either the drought or the cataclysmic flood which came along, I believe it to be a combination of both, this has just melted into just blocks of what we now look at as stone. But this would have all just been dirt. This would have been, utilised. This would have been a mud structure that has kind of come in on itself, and you're just left with this now, which at one point, like I said, it would have just been soil. And that's why you have all of these random bits of soil here. It's obviously not rock, is it? And then they pretend that it's for some ritual sacrifice or some other bollocks that they make up and tell the kids. It's just ridiculous. You wouldn't have all these random pieces of stone everywhere. That said, they could have also been used as I guess, plinths, assuming they did previously exist. And a mud building would have been built all on them, so they would have been used as a kind of stabiliser, if you like, which you do see in some of the terraces. So of course this wouldn't have been seen at the period in question. It would have been used as a kind of plinth plateau, if you like, as stabiliser, like I already said, reiterating it, and you would have had mud all around it, and it would have been a building of some form. Though I still think the former is far more likely, and that it's just melted and it's just soil that's caved in on itself and formed blocks, and then over sizable periods of time it's petrified into this very chippy so-called stone. Yeah, interesting stuff.